Hello, 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 Curvies, and welcome to Larger Curves today. Thank you for being here. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Make sure you smash that like button and smash the subscribe button on your way in. Ring my bell so you can get notified next time I upload a video so you can become part of this beautiful curvy community that we're growing in the YouTube streets. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot going on, Curvies. There's a lot going on, Curvies. There's a lot going on, Curvies. It's enough to make you stutter. Okay? Let's get into this. Okay? There was an assassination attempt on 45 over the weekend. There's all kind of footage coming out right now that's like, how are the police looking at the man with the 15 thing? And how is the Secret Service looking at the man with the 15 thing pointed towards number 45 the whole time? How are they doing this? And they're just like, what, eating donuts? I'm not sure what they were doing. I'm not sure what they were doing. But multiples of videos coming out from every angle. Because it's all about the angles, darling. Okay. And they know it. They know it's all about the angles. Okay. I feel like they play it in our face. Why hasn't a doctor come out yet and said what happened to Trump? I just was wondering. Why not a medical professional has come forward to say what exactly was happening? Isn't that usually what happens when something like this happens? Isn't there some type of further corroboration? Isn't there? I mean, there is. I know there is. Because I've been alive since Reagan had a thing on him. Yup. I've been alive since that long. Yup. We heard from a doctor. Yup. We heard from a lot of different doctors. Yup. Different doctors. Over a course of many days, even after it had happened and after he got released, we heard from a lot of different doctors. Yeah. You guys want to know what I'm sipping on today? This is blue spirulina infused fresh pressed watermelon juice, hand strained with some good old ginger and some mint, some organic ginger, some organic mint, some organic lemons in my black seeded watermelon. And then I strained it into my glass bottle so I don't get no BPAs. Because, where you can, you should. You know what I'm saying? And as much as do what you can, right? So I hope you guys are doing excellent today. Look, I jumped right in. I know I did. It's kind of heavy, and people have been on my back because, when one has a freaking hall pass on level 8, let's just say there's a lot of chatter on level 8 about what happened this weekend. Okay? The people that lost their lives, oh my God, bless you guys, praying for you guys, heart out to their families, praying for peace and love and strength for all their loved ones left behind. That is horrible that happened. That's horrible that lady was injured in her arm, in her forearm or something else happened. So it's really thick. And for the casualties, the innocence that was lost, sincere condolences. And for the SS men, the men in black, the men in black. There was a movie about it, several movies about it. The men in black, the agents. Why is it that the agents were looking at this person who could have indeed hit an innocent person and did nothing for at least 4 minutes. It almost feels like they're complicit somehow because you have one job. You have one job. Secure the premises, right? That's what they were supposed to do, was to secure the premises. And Candace Owens talked about it. I agree with her sometimes. Candace Owens talked about it. And a number of other people talked about it. My curls are everywhere, huh? I did not take the pictures yet. Did not. Told you guys I was curling my hair for my professional photos. And so I just have them squinched. But now I'm realizing that I have it pulled kind of tight. So these are going to be long and that'll work out. So, yeah. So a lot of people are wondering why the men in black and the popo, because people were like, they're the popo all right there. We told them too. They're like showing the people, they're showing the man on the roof. They're showing the people looking at the man on the roof. I didn't see any donuts. They're showing them not do anything. And he had to have come through a secure perimeter with multi-checks, the people with the squiggly thing. They probably don't have the squiggly thing no more because that's too obvious. Remember in the movies from yesteryear, the men in black would have a squiggly thing and then they have to remember not to talk to their wrist and touch their ear. I'm sure technology has gotten up by now where that wouldn't have been the case. However, why did they wait? Why didn't they do anything? And then there's this other footage of the man behind Trump, the man in black, behind Trump, behind the stage, telling people to get out of the way from that area all of a sudden, right before it happened. And I'm like, that's strange. That's suspicious. That's weird. Coinkydink that the lady behind him is like, and then ducks down before anything happened, or that man who they swore was some kind of Kennedy. He didn't look like a Kennedy to me, but he was in the like kind of black and he had the hat on and they thought he was Robert Kennedy, I think. Not the one that's running for president, but the deceased one, I think. Or John Kennedy. Anyway, they thought he was a Kennedy. And I'm like, I don't know where y'all got that from, but you're right. That is suspicious that, I mean, did you see the number of people that didn't know what F was going on and they were just like standing there? There's screams and there's like commotion and there are people like literally just standing there. They could have had a hearing impairment. I don't know. They could have had a hearing impairment. They could have had maybe they had some AirPods in that they didn't know. Maybe they were on their phone. I don't know. I know if I heard one of those and it wasn't the 4th of July, and there's a different sound to the ones from the 4th of July anyway, then I'm just in the habit of ducking. And no, that doesn't make me want to vote for his ass, because did you see the racists come out with articles talking about, between him having 34 counts against him and now having been pow-powed, he's sure to get more black votes. Did you hear that shit? You hear what they think about you? You know how many people had to see that before it actually got to print? Like they have all different types of editors and departments and legal stuff, and it still got all the way to print. That 45 being pow-powed at is going to get more black votes because we were late. They done took it down now after some backlash. But it's still floating all around, just like the BlackRock ad with the power, the alleged power, the 20-year-old dude. What's his name? TMC? Yeah. So TMC, was in a BlackRock commercial, you guys. He was in a BlackRock commercial. And an artillery club enthusiast. But he was in a BlackRock commercial. You know, they own 3 organizations own like all this shit. And BlackRock is one of them, you guys. I don't believe me. Google this shit. I'm telling you, do not believe me. Google it. Do diligence of your own. Just go ahead. Go ahead. I'm telling you. The rabbit holes are crazy you can get into on this. Okay? But this Project 2025. And just in time for Halloween. All of them. With Jason. And Freddie. All of them together. Coming out to terrorize America. Because this is America. So they got 2025. They got a plan. They got it written down. 992 pages or 22 pages. You know, your mama's dyslexic sometimes. My son is in elementary school and they would tell him to round up to 1,000 at 900. So they got a 1,000-page manifesto. You know who has manifestos? The people who go crazy after they went on a spree of some kind where, yeah, those are people that leave manifestos. These mofos got a whole manifesto. And they're like, they said put it in a book and y'all won't see it anyway. Because it's in plain writing what they're doing. It's like somebody wrote it. They did it kind of like a Bible. They used the Bible formula where they had like 140 apostles and they all wrote and contributed to what became the final project of 1,000 pages of Take Us Back. Take me back. Take me back, dear Lord, to the place where I first received you. Remember, Andre Crouch tried to tell us. They tried to take us back. All the way back. They're like, that girl came out with 1619. We got 2025. And then I was talking to a friend, very intelligent, smart guy. You know, he drops by sometimes. Sebastian says he's really smart, you guys, because he took the time to read the whole 1,000 pages of it. Look, when I do read 1,000 pages of something, it's not the content is not 2025. It's like 50 Shades of Grey, all three times. Pregnant second time, second book. Okay? Like that's what I'm reading thousands of pages of. True story. But 1,000 pages of white supremacists take me back to sackcloth. Don't give me no soap. Whoop my ass work for free. They want to make it against the law to use the word that makes discrimination, like that, the word that establishes the pattern required to establish that discrimination has actually happened once a says that it has. Because you know that lady from Starbucks who racially profiled bruh and had to police him up. And then she got fired because on the videotape it showed her clearly racial profiling the people because she didn't call out nobody else for no reason. You know she sued. Did you know that lady sued? Did you know that lady sued? Not the brother who got hemmed up. and had to take time out of his life to go freaking down to the courthouse and make sure that they didn't put a bench on his ass, right? She got fired. I don't know if they don't have bias training at places like that. Was at a Starbucks, allegedly. I don't know if they don't have bias training, sensitivity training, some type of awareness training. I mean, I know they do sexual harassment training, so like at least body parts are covered. But when it comes to like how to treat a person, yeah. So I guess she didn't get training on that. And when she racially profiled bruh, who is sitting, rightfully so, just doing his Wi-Fi thing like everybody else in white America, minding his black business. That's what they can't stand it. They usually can't stand it right there. And proven point, because she called the popo on him and had him hemmed up. Hemmed up, translation. Hemmed up in urban speak is like accosted by the popo, when you have to have your hands behind your back, assume the position, get searched, detained, maybe the back of a car. Yeah, they have to write a number and you have to call somebody later. Yeah, that hemmed up. Got bruh hemmed up and then sued her job for firing her for racial profiling the black guy. You know what she sued him for? Discrimination. That's basically what 2025 is. That kind of crazy. Because did you know that the bruh, and she got like millions of dollars on this too. He did not get millions of dollars. Nope. He did not get millions of dollars. Nope, sure didn't. Sure didn't. Didn't happen. Nope. So I was talking to Sebastian. Bring it back. Woo! All right. So sometimes I feel like I might have a form of Tourette's, you guys. I can go all over. My son said I was stimming the other day. I was like, what's that? He said, look it up. I did. It's like symptoms of spectrumism. And I'm pretty sure that I was undiagnosed spectrumism or something, because I have a lot of little quirks and stuff that I've just worked in over time, but I've had them for a very long time. And so now I have these kids. And I was like, is that mom? Do I see me and you? You cannot keep still, can you, son? They used to just say I fidget. You fidget. You fidget. That's what they used to say. Stop your fidgeting. Stop your fidgeting. Nowadays, they would call it stimming. Anyway, or restless leg syndrome. Pick one or none. Anyway, so I was talking to Sebastian and we were talking about 2025. He read all 1,000 pages. I did not. I've just been reading summaries and hearing about it, right? So, and doing my own research, of course, like that, right? So like I said, summaries, right? So he's like, Larja, you don't really need to, this is an agenda, he said. He said the real agenda, he said, because this isn't the presidential agenda, 25 is not. The Agenda 47. You can go online right now. Do it. Or don't. Do it. I'm telling you, due diligence is your best friend. Because you don't have to believe me. Don't believe me. I hear something that Candace Owens might say that I like, and I'll go do my own research. I'll be like, damn, that bitch is right. So do your own due diligence. Go to the website. Just type in Agenda 47. It'll take you right on over to a little doozy. Yep, take you right on over to a little ditty. No ditty. Yeah. So, okay. I've been talking for 21 minutes. Thanks for hanging out. Let's get started. I'm going to share this screen. And while I share the screen, let me throw up this banner with the copyright disclaimer, because I'm going to be borrowing Empowering. I'm going to be lending it to myself from somebody else's thing that they did a summary. So we're going to be presenting that. And this is the copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is permitted by... I have to wait for it to come back around. So while that's doing that, let's do this presente. Sharing the screen, sharing the window. Yeah, I'm that old. I talk to my screens, you guys. I talk to my screens. Okay, so it's coming back around. We already did this first half. We don't have to worry about that. I'm going to catch up where it says fair use is a use permitted by statutes that might otherwise be infringing. I think it says, I've been reading it for so long, I should know it by heart by now. Yeah, fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. So now let's get started. So this is on Illustrate to Educate here in the YouTube Street House. And they've done What is a Project 2025 explained with 5 criticisms. And let's see if we can't get this. Let me first turn down this background music. You know what? Maybe I should see what you guys are saying first. Let's see what we're doing first before I mean, I've already been ranting for like 23 minutes. Do we really want to sidebar with me doing this? Or do you just want to get to the meat? I mean, I'm on high protein right now, so I could just get to the meat and be going through the comments while it's playing. Let's do that. Multitask. That's what I'm talking about. Pivot, don't panic. Pivot, don't panic.
Project 2025, led by the Heritage Foundation, is a comprehensive initiative designed to prepare for a potential conservative administration starting in January 2025. It is structured around 4 main pillars: policy development, personnel recruitment, training, and strategic planning for the early days of the new administration. Here's a more detailed breakdown of each component.
Hi, mademoiselle.
First, let's look at the policy agenda. The Conservative Promise is a detailed policy guide that provides specific recommendations for governing major federal agencies. The guide encompasses conservative solutions to various issues, including economic policies, healthcare, education, and national security.
Thanks for
being here. It is intended to serve as a blueprint for the next conservative administration, ensuring that key conservative values and strategies are implemented effectively from the outset. The second pillar is the personnel database. Project 2025 includes a comprehensive personnel database aimed at identifying and vetting potential appointees for various positions within the federal government. This database seeks to ensure that a future conservative administration has a pool of qualified, ideologically aligned individuals ready to fill key roles. The recruitment efforts span across different sectors and backgrounds, targeting experienced professionals who can execute the administration's agenda efficiently. The third part is the training through the Presidential Administration Academy. To prepare the identified personnel for their roles, Project 2025 has established the Presidential Administration Academy. This academy offers a range of training programs, including workshops, seminars, online courses, and mentorship from former administration officials. The training is designed to equip future administrators with the necessary skills and knowledge to implement conservative policies effectively.
Thanks for being here.
Fourth is the 180-day playbook. The 180-day playbook is a strategic document outlining the immediate actions to be taken by the new administration within the first 180 days. This playbook is crafted to enable swift policy reversals and the implementation of conservative priorities, ensuring a smooth and impactful start. It includes specific actions for various departments and agencies, focusing on undoing the policies of the previous administration and setting the stage for long-term conservative governance. Now let's talk about...
Hi, Be More Shorty. Did everybody else hear me say hi? Hi, Cortor. Hi, Cesara. Hi, Emmanuel, Q and DJ. Linnell is in the house. Of course, we said hi to Bianca, Juanita. And then we were coming down here and we had just got to Palaver. Right on. Right on. Thanks for coming through. You know, we're going to go over that whole book this week, The Power of Zero, every day at noon. Every day at noon, we're going to be going over the book on how to get zero taxes on your income and your gains and all of that stuff. So it's a short book. It's only going to take a week, a half hour a day. So today we did a little introduction. Tomorrow we'll go deep. Thanks for being here. Yeah, how are you guys feeling about this? There's a 9-minute video breakdown of an excerpt. Oh, see, look. Thank you, Mademoiselle. Yeah, see, I'm a summarizer. I used to love Cliff Notes. Let's just put it that way. Let's just put it that way. Right on. Thanks a lot. Oh my gosh. Hello, hello. Yes, somebody please check out Cesara. She has nice conversations. She's our friend, as she likes to say, across the pond. Over there. I have a little English accent in me too, don't you know? Wait a minute. Let me try to make him not do that. But I'm telling you, I swear he might be stimming or something. He said he'll try. Yes, yeah, we're gonna go over it. We're gonna look at today. We're gonna look at because it's 1,000 freaking pages, and all the stuff in Agenda 47. So much of it is similarly aligned that the cogs of both either, and they're set up to do this already. I'm talking the 140 people are already in positions of power. Okay, we the people put some of them there. We might have put 40% of them, 60% of them, whatever. They're in positions of power. So even if God doesn't let Trump get elected, let's say there's an moment where God doesn't let Trump get elected. Because even if he had his life threatened yesterday, he's threatened way more lives. So I'm just like, you're supposed to turn the other cheek, an eye for an eye, and all of that stuff. That's the Bible they're trying to push in all the schools and everything. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying. He literally made those 5 boys in the 80s go through the court thing, took out ads in papers to waste the time and money of the justice system to persecute 5 Black youth. 5. How many stocks do I really have in stock? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5 Black young men. The Central Park 5. Number 45 took his time, money, effort, and position to abuse the judicial system, waste their time, and have these 5 men found guilty with no evidence, no nothing. It was just such a smear campaign and the pressures, and he got everybody to play, and those young men had to pay. How dare he? Preparest his mouth to complain about them wasting their time, that he has documents he's not supposed to have where he ain't supposed to have them, about them wasting the judicial court's time. Everything's a waste. But it was fine when you were doing it to 5 5 Black youth. It was fine. Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here, folks. The newspaper let him take out ads and further besmirch these boys' names. They were all in on it. Turnabout is what they call fair play, fool. That's all I'm saying. So I don't know why people are not shocked that as a civilization, Milo, what are you doing, baby? As a civilization, we've kind of been almost conditioned out of compassion. Yeah. Bad boys, what you're gonna do has beat us into submission about the idea of excessive force because we see it for entertainment, right? I mean, it's all adding up. These are all cogs they've been putting in motion. And the two cogs of Project 2025 and 47, when it finally comes together, all the progress that we've made, all the progress that we've made, all the progress that we've made, it's progress like this, not like this. It's progress like this, not like this. This would be a period. Done. It's done. It's codified. Nope. 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 Civil Rights Act? Nope. It's on the table. It's getting gutted. Affirmative action? It's getting gutted. All the things. And then wait till you see the people who created this thing. It's called the Heritage thing. Did you guys see this? The Heritage Foundation? Here, Google it. The Heritage Foundation. It looks so nice, doesn't it? Just aesthetically look. It looks calming. But this is the coalition of people. This is their thing. Heritage.org. Okay, so they're who created this Project 2025. Rant.
The coalition and organizational structure. Project 2025 is supported by a coalition of over 100 conservative organizations, including think tanks, advocacy groups, and academic institutions. This broad coalition brings together diverse expertise and resources to support the project's goals. Notable participants include former officials from the Trump administration who contribute their experience and insights to the project. There are specific policy focus areas in Project 2025. Project 2025 proposes significant changes to federal policies on reproductive health. These include removing references to abortion from federal laws and regulations, reversing the approval of abortion pills, and defunding clinics that provide abortion or contraception services. The initiative also aims to reinstate the Comstock Act to ban mail-order abortions and reshape Medicaid to avoid funding reproductive health care services that include abortion. Another focus area is cultural and social issues. The project emphasizes the restoration of traditional family values and religious principles. This includes opposing policies perceived as supporting cultural Marxism and promoting a pro-life agenda. It advocates for policies that support the nuclear family, religious liberty, and traditional gender roles. There's also the leadership of Project 2025, which is directed by Paul Dans, a former chief of staff at the Office of Personnel Management during the Trump administration, with Spencer Shratine serving as associate director. Both bring extensive experience from their previous roles in government, contributing to the strategic planning and execution of the project. So what are the criticisms of Project 2025? Project 2025 has sparked significant criticism from various sources.
So, as you can see, they said that it's based off of 4 pillars. And the 4 pillars are, let's go here. Oh no, that's not it. Sorry, I had it up, I thought, but then I closed some tabs. 4 pillars. 20, yeah. Did you do it? Okay, let's go with this. The main point, the main Project 2025 document mandate for leadership. The conservative progress outlines 4 main aims: restoring the family as the centerpiece of American life, dismantling the administrative state, defending the nation's sovereignty and borders, securing God-given individual rights to live freely. So they have 4 options in stock. And it's a top to bottom overhaul. And isn't it interesting? Like, because as a person, melanated hue, who has yet to fully benefit from the Civil Rights Act of 19, whatever that was, 63, 4, I always get them confused. Anyway, Dr. Paul Anderson penned it, and he's still alive, and he's in these YouTube streets sometimes, and he's very knowledgeable on what actually happened. And he's told the story from his mouth about how when there was this president and he needed to get elected, and then he needed some black votes. And so they were like, oh, we'll do the civil rights thing. And so then when it came time, so then we voted for him, as always. We always end up, before we get the money. Yeah, we always end up doing that shit. So we went ahead and voted for him so he could get into office. So then we could get the civil rights bill done. So then we get there and Paul Anderson writes it. And he takes it to him. And it's all this stuff that's going to uplift Black people, and it's going to stop these hate crimes, and it's going to make sure there's the redlining can't affect us, that the freaking segregation can't affect us, that all the Jim Crow things left over from pure slavery can't affect us, all the chattel slavery bullshit can't affect us. And he brings it to him. And they read it. And of course, they got the big red pen out. Okay, we need you to make these changes, and then we'll consider it. So they give it back to him. And the changes were to, instead of be for Black people in America, and that was even closer to, so if 1865 is when Juneteenth finally happened, and that was the ending of slavery, ask Alice. That's not funny, but it is. So 1865 to 1963, that's almost a century. So 100 years later, after being so-called free, they still had us caught up so bad with Jim Crow and all of these legal ways to terrorize our community, basically. From housing, terrorizing food. There was like droughts, food droughts, like areas where there was no stores, all kind of stuff. They did it with a plan and a plot. I'm telling you guys. Right? It was so bad. We needed something in 1963. You know they're trying to take this away right now? It hasn't even been here for a whole 100 years yet, because 1963 to 2063 would be 100 years, right? Is that 100? I don't know. You guys know I'm weird. I'm not adding right. I don't know. Whatever. But it seems like a century is enough time to stop if you want to stop. And this whole time, certain communities have been screaming about this thing called white supremacy and these systems of white supremacy and how they need to be dismantled. And like start from scratch. Let's get rid of this and start from scratch so that we're included. Because in your version right now, I mean, a lot of people are still operating off of 3/5 of human. Okay. Yeah. Because in your thing right now, it's still exactly the way it was, but you're still must be some type of legally bound to it because it is written in this document that Paul Anderson did in 1963 when they gave it back to him and had him include white women. That was number one on their list for the 1963 Civil Rights Bill that was supposed to help Black people. One of their first red pen things was that they had to include white women in the minority group that Black people are in. Yeah. Along with all the other races that were actually minorities. But yet and still, somehow in 2022, we were able to get an anti-Asian hate crime bill specifically. That's interesting. We've never gotten any type of anti-Black hate legislation. Interesting. So for centuries, it's been pointed out that indeed dismantling the administrative state, like they're trying to do, might be a good idea for some people, right? Because this is what their thing is. Restoring the family as a centerpiece. Don't you think that the Black slaves that were separated through slavery would have appreciated having their family left the fuck alone long enough to restore the family as a centerpiece of Black America? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. We haven't even got to the gist yet. I'm just setting it up for they write it with such pretty words. But the things that are at stake for certain people groups, I think you might be in the camera, baby. The things that are no. Oh. The things that are in the that are at stake for certain people groups is just like they want to make it like a religion taught in schools. So are you going to respect all the religions at the school? Are you going to do an intake form at the beginning of school so that you can know their religions first off? So now you got to be in my business, because what if I am a Muslim and you want the people to be reading the Bible in every morning? What's up with that? What if I'm a Catholic? What if I'm Buddhist? What if I'm Baha'i? What if what? So there's only one? But I thought it was AmeriKKKA. It's America! I thought it was America, land of the free. Look, they want the rights to live freely. That's how they end. Sorry, I got this fan right here. They want the rights to live freely, but they're going to impose their will completely on everybody else along the way.
Critics argue that the project embodies a comprehensive plan to centralize executive power, erode democratic norms, and enforce a far-right agenda on American governance and society. Let's take a look at 5 specific criticisms in more detail. First is the centralization of executive power. One major criticism is that Project 2025 seeks to expand presidential control over the federal bureaucracy. The plan includes reviving the Schedule F classification, which would allow the president to replace thousands of civil service employees with political appointees loyal to the administration. Critics argue this would undermine the nonpartisan nature of the civil service and politicize federal agencies, making them tools of the executive branch rather than independent.
So, does that sound like something that we should criticize? I don't know. I mean, the stuff that's already happening, what it sounds like they're trying to make everybody feel black, basically. Remember that Chinese guy? He showed up in court and he had blackface on, and they were like, "Why did you show up in here?" This really happened. It's floating around the social medias, and they said, "Why did you show up here like that?" He said, "Well, you treat me black, so I show up black," because he didn't like getting, the book thrown at him. So a lot of these laws already feel like they're over there for some people, you know. But do you think that, and you know who a lot of federal employees are? So aren't a majority like, look, so Washington, D.C., Virginia, those places are very melanated. And a lot of these people in these government positions, those are Trump's black jobs. Those are the black jobs. How many? I know so many black people that was like, go get a job with the government, 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 and have a job. Oh, we should look at the statistics. Statistics. Let's hurry up and do that. What are the demographics of black employees? What percentage of federal employees are black? Do they know these kinds of things? Look at this. Look at that. 61%, you guys. 61% of the jobs he wants to get declassified from the F schedule are black people. Did you know that? This is the first time I'm looking this specific number up. I did already know about these four pillars, like I said, from the little research and stuff. I knew about that part, but I didn't really think until this moment in going back to the Jim Crow and how Paul had to include everybody on our stuff, and we still don't have our stuff. And now they want to take away the little that we have and are complaining that we got it because they have to feel bad. I mean, this is their words. Go to their heritage site. And now to find out that one of the pillars to get away with the administrative stuff would require he fires 61% of the workforce, well, 100% of the workforce, and install people he wants, no matter what. That would be affecting 61%. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. 18% black federal for civilian and 61% white. Bernie Sanders would have to go, you guys. Would he be able to get the people out of even the federal positions out of that stuff too? Would he be able to? And 18.4 is an increase from 18.2. Then he'd be getting rid of 6.9% Asian Pacific Islanders. Hispanics, 9%. Non-seasonal, full-time, permanent. Here's the graph. Senior executive level is 75% white. So 12% of the black population, is that what it's saying? Federal government workforce, 18%. Total US population, 12% would be laid off or removed. For my Caucasian friends, 59% of the total US population is works in the federals. About half of the Hispanic population works for the, if I'm reading this right, you guys know me. So nearly half the POCs combined, right? Right? It's half and half. But if he gets to get rid of this Schedule F thing, that's crazy. That must be there for a reason. I wonder.
Entities. Second is the attack on democratic institutions. Critics highlight that Project 2025's blueprint includes proposals to dismantle or weaken key democratic institutions. This includes plans to defund the Department of Justice and dismantle the FBI and other agencies that could act as checks on presidential power. Such moves are seen as efforts to undermine the rule of law and enable the executive branch to operate with little oversight or accountability. Third, the project also faces criticism for its potential use of government power to target political opponents and critics.
Wait, didn't this just happen?
Third, the project also faces criticism for its potential use of government power to target political opponents and critics, rule of law, and enable the executive branch to operate with little oversight or accountability.
Didn't that just happen already? So you see how they're already setting this up? I'm telling you, these people are already in power. And didn't they just tell Trump pretty much that he can do what he wants as long as he thinks it was presidential? As long as, I think the wording was, as long as he deemed it presidential. So I guess Biden could do the same thing by a proxy because they just said he could do it. And so it's not going to be a law once he's in office again. That's a law now. They just made that a law now that if Biden says so, he could deem certain things presidential and have no accountability for it. It's already in motion, you guys. It's already in motion.
Third, the project also faces criticism for its potential use of government power to target political opponents and critics. There are fears that it would enable the executive to pursue legal action against political adversaries and critical media outlets, drawing parallels to authoritarian regimes where dissent is suppressed through state mechanisms. The fourth criticism is the social and cultural agenda. Project 2025's policy agenda includes strong positions on social issues, promoting conservative values that critics argue could roll back rights and protections for various groups. The document outlines plans to restrict LGBTQ+ rights, enforce strict anti-abortion measures, and integrate Christian nationalist principles into government policy. This agenda has raised concerns about the erosion of civil liberties and the imposition of a particular religious and ideological framework on the entire nation. Lastly is the environmental and climate policy rollbacks. The project's stance on environmental regulations is contentious. It proposes significant rollbacks of climate policies, which critics argue would have detrimental effects on efforts to combat climate change and protect the environment. This aspect of the plan is seen as catering to business interests at the expense of long-term ecological sustainability. Did you find this video about Project 2025 to be helpful?
I actually did. Did you guys find it to be helpful? Wasn't that crazy? And we just saw that it's already happening. They just told old boy that if he deemed it, what's it called? If he deemed it presidential, he could do it. So now we're going to look at the actual, let me stop sharing this. And I'm going to show you guys the actual 2025. You can just Google it. Share screen. Is it up? Wait for the Adobe to pop up. There it is. You can just Google Project 2025 and you'll be able to download. Let me minimize this. You'll be able to download a PDF, because they want everybody to know. That's one of the thing with en masse with rituals and stuff. They gotta look. They kind of gotta let you know you're under a spell, because if you believe it, then it's working and everything. But also, you don't even have to really believe it, because sometimes if they're so powerful, they can just believe it for you as long as you're doing participating. And yeah, we've seen that hive mind mentality. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like main thing gets stronger from all of them thinking the same. You know what I mean? Um, woo. So anyway, you can Google Project 2025 and you'll get this mandate for leadership. And it's 920 pages. You can see it says one of 920, rounding up to 1,000. And it's by the Heritage Foundation in Massachusetts, on Massachusetts Ave in Northeast Washington. All rights reserved. Now, I don't know what this number is. So we're going to look at the table of contents today, just to see how they word things. You know how they do? I feel like we need to have truth in bill titles and truth in legislation. So like if they say it's Environmental Protection Agency is supposed to protect, and then inside it's like, and then they can dump all the trash in the ocean. Like, that's not what you just did. Then you didn't protect anything, did you? Like, so I just think there should be more truth in some of these bills. And I feel like the bills should be singular. I don't feel like they should be able to do like 1,000-page bill and tuck in their funding for you or fake. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, nope, that should be separate. Why? But the only way you could get it through was to, what do they call it? Anyway, I know I call it insert in the middle of nowhere. It's just like they'll be talking about beautiful roses and hummingbirds, and then all of a sudden it's just like a fiery ember of hate. And then they go back to some, oh, and then we're going to do the infrastructure and we're going to help old people cross the street. And then they drop in, oh, and we're going to dismantle traffic lights in elderly neighborhoods or something. They just do all kind of crazy shit. It's so weird. So I just think there should be more truth in this stuff. So let's get at these table of contents. We got the Roman numeral pages with the acknowledgments, the advisory board. Let me make this bigger for us. The acknowledgments, the advisory board, the Presidential Transition Project, a note on Project 2025. We have the authors, the contributors, the foreword, and the Promise to America by Kevin D. Roberts, a PhD. And then section 1 is taking the reins of government. So they are using an analogy of reins, usually used on a horse. And there are how many horsemen in Revelation? I don't know. Is that why they're using that word? Who knows? I don't know. We could check on level 8. We don't have to right now, though. So taking the reins of government, White House office, Rick Dearborn, Executive Office of the President of the United States, Russ Vought, Central Personnel Agencies, managing the bureaucracy. That's going to be Donald Devin, Dennis Dean Kirk. I'd be kind of concerned with three first names right now. I'd be a little concerned with 3 first names. Dennis Dean Kirk. Paul Dans. Section 2, the Department of Defense, Christopher Miller. Department of Homeland Security, Ken Cuccinelli. Department of State, Kieran Skinner. Intelligence Community, Dustin Carmack. Media agencies, U.S. Agency for Global Media is going to be Maura Namdar. Corporation for Public Broadcasting is Mike Gonzalez. Agency for International Development, Max Piramarak. Then we're getting to section 3, the general welfare. That's going to be starting in page 283. We have the Department of Agriculture with Darren Burst, the Department of Education, Lindsay Burke, Department of Energy and Related Commissions, Bernard McNamee. Environmental Protection Agency, Mandy Ganasakara. Department of Health and Human Services, Roger Serrano. Department of Housing and Urban Development, Benjamin Carson. Department of Interior, William Perry Pedley. Department of Justice, Jean Hamilton. Department of Labor and Related Agencies, Jonathan Berry. Department of Transportation, Diana Roth. Department of Veterans Affairs, Brooks Tucker. Then we're on to the economy. Now we're up to page 657. Department of Commerce, Thomas Gilman. Department of Treasury, William Walton, Stephen Moore, David Burton. Export-Import Bank, the Export-Import Bank should be abolished, Veronique Derugi. The case for the Export-Import Bank, Jennifer Hazelton. Federal Reserve, Paul Winfrey. Small Business Administration, Karen Kerrigan. Trade, the case for fair trade, Peter Navarro. The case for free trade, Kent Lastman. Section 5 is on page 825. We have independent regulatory agencies. Financial Regulatory Agencies, Security and Exchange Commission, and related agencies. Oh, David gets two things. David Burton. Consumer and Financial Protection Bureau, Robert Bose. Did we already see that name too? Federal Communications Commission, that's the FCC, that's Brendan Carr. Federal Election Commission, Hanze von Spakovsky. Federal Trade Commission, Adam Candiab. And then it says onward, this is page 883, and that's Edwin Fulner. So now we get into it. These are the advisory boards: Alabama Policy Institute, Alliance for Defending Freedom, American Compass, the American Conservative, America First Legal Foundation, American Accountability Foundation, American Center for Law and Justice, American Cornerstone Institute, American Council of Trustees and Alumni, American Legislative Exchange Council, the American Main Street Initiative, American Moment, American Principles Project, Center for Equal Opportunity, Center for Family and Human Rights, Center for Immigration Studies, Center for Renewing America, Claremont Institute, Coalition for Prosperous America, Competitive Enterprise Institute, Conservative Partnership Institute, Concerned Women for America, Defense of Freedom Institute, Ethics and Public Policy Center, Family Policy Alliance, Family Research Council, First Liberty Institute, Forge Leadership Network, Foundation of Defense of Democracies, Foundation of Government Accountability, Freedom Works, the Heritage Foundation, Hillsdale College, Honest Elections Project, Independent Women's Forum, Institute for the American Worker, Institute for Energy Research, Institute for Women's Health, Intercollegiate Studies Institute, James Madison Institute, Keystone Policies, the Leadership Institute, Liberty University, National Association of Scholars, National Center for Public Policy Research, Pacific Research Institute, Patrick Henry College, Personnel Policy Operations, Recovery for America Now Foundation, 1792 Exchange, B. Anthony Pro-Life America, Texas Public Policy Foundation, Tiano Network, Young America Foundation. You guys, a whole other live could be going through and seeing how each one of these, this is what I'm saying, they already have their cogs everywhere, you guys. Look at these institutions. Look at these businesses. Look at this: institutions, centers, network, foundations, projects, universities, foundations, operations, research, lots of research stuff. Yeah. And doesn't it all sound so unassuming? Doesn't it all sound very unassuming? Independent Women's Forum. Doesn't that sound like I'm not racist? Institute for the American Worker. Doesn't that sound like I want to keep workers' rights? Institute for Women's Health. Doesn't that sound like I might care what a woman wants to do with her body? Liberty University. Doesn't that sound like I care about people's liberties and if I'm trampling on them? Recovery for America Now Foundation. Doesn't that seem like I want to recover something in America and make it better to like for everybody? Young America's Foundation. Doesn't that sound like I want to reach the youth and help empower them? Doesn't all this sound very unassuming? If you guys look, I'm gonna make this real big again. And if you want to, no, because these are the advisory boards. These are businesses and instant. Look, I'm gonna look up one. Name one to look up. Somebody give me one to look up. Center for Equal Opportunity. I'll look that one up in the meantime and see what they're talking about. Center for Equal Opportunity. Linda Chavez, founded in 1995. If this is them, let's share this screen. You guys saw that up there though. And now I'm going to show you what this website is showing us for the Center for Equal Opportunity. Their mission and their purpose is a study, develop, and disseminate ideas that promote colorblind equal opportunity and non-discrimination in America. Doesn't that sound like I'd be so welcome there? Doesn't that sound like I would be so welcome there and protected from all the things that have historically happened to me in America? Doesn't that sound interesting? Look, their mission, the Center for Equal Opportunity, is to study, develop, and disseminate ideas that promote colorblind equal opportunity and non-discrimination in America. Doesn't that sound like it includes us? But really, what it does was this the one? Here it is. Really what it does is this is what they're saying. So this is really what they think. So this is from the Heritage Foundation, the people that wrote, that are the real writers behind 2025. Americans are right to fight back against the racial fanaticism now invading American classrooms, workplaces, and even the White House. Disparities likely to result from choices that free Americans of all colors, now released from the yoke of government-imposed color-conscious policies, attempts to re-engineer American culture or human nature through training sessions are likely to produce backlash that could have ugly racial overtones. See how it's like a mouthful of everything? Listen, Americans are right to fight back against racial fanaticism now invading American classrooms, workplaces, and everything we already said. These misguided teachings, accepted as holy writ by their proponents, are premised on easily disprovable propositions. Core propositions are the following. This is what they believe. That the persistence of racial disparities are prima facie evidence of racism so deep that it's systematic. That to destroy racism, America's culture must be re-engineered through re-education, mini camps, and the only way to close the gaps is through heavily heavy-handed use of racial discrimination, anti-racism government policies. These are the underlying beliefs of the critical race theory, which is now being utilized and institutionalized throughout society. White children are taught that they perpetuate racism, whatever their feelings. Fuck what my feelings have been for 450 years. Fuck that. When you play Roots all the fucking time and only let me be seen as slavery and freaking other things in these movies, okay? So fuck our feelings. Fuck our kids' feelings. So much so that we had to come up with a civil rights bill so you could try to leave us alone, but you never have. But because, look what it says. But because white children are taught that they perpetuate racism, whatever their feelings, and that black children are taught that love of reading and writing and use of reason are elements of white culture. And all children are taught that America is a hideous place. In workplaces, employees are being herded into anti-racism training programs resembling Maoist struggle sessions. Meanwhile, woke corporate executives jump to punish communities that have the gall to make a decision they don't like. Now, the Biden administration says it right here. The Biden administration is making CRT our official ideology. Its Department of Education has proposed prioritizing grants for courses that use CRT. President Biden signed into law a loan forgiveness program that can be used by any farmer except those that are white. Clearly, we have returned to color-conscious government policymaking. For the first time since the passage of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. You see how they word all this shit? Is anything I'm saying making sense? Does it sound like I'm talking in molasses? Because it's just not registered. You're like, all these words are like in the same sentence. Yeah. At this point, we must ask, are we rushing into dismantling the prosperous, freest, most fair society in history because of vague, woolly premises? It says woolly. Premises that fail to stand up to scrutiny. So the woolly premises fail to stand up. So American history fails to stand up to scrutiny is what they're saying. Let's take systematic racism first. For CRT proponents, like Richard Delgado, racial disparities arise from prevailing mindset by means of which members of the dominating group justify the world as it is, that is, with whites on top, browns and blacks at the bottom. Or, as Ibram X. Kendi puts it, we see racial disparities, I see racism. The disparities, however, more likely result from the choices that free Americans of all color, now released from the yoke of government-imposed color consciousness, make for cultural reasons. You hear that shit? We brought it on ourselves. Did you hear that shit? It wasn't that we didn't get our 40 acres and a mule. It wasn't that they blew up our banks. It wasn't that they stole our houses. It wasn't that they bombed our neighborhoods. It wasn't that they wouldn't give us jobs that paid into Social Security. It wasn't none of that shit. It was because we made our choices for cultural reasons. Activists on the left American politics claim that white supremacy, implicit bias, and old-fashioned anti-black racism are sufficient to account for the black disadvantage. But this is a bluff that relies on cancel culture to be sustained by Brown University professor Glenn Leroy, the simple retort, racism is laughable. The simple retort, racism is laughable, as if such disparities have nothing to do with behavior. As if these disparities have nothing to do with you got 450 free motherfucking years of labor off of people you refuse to pay reparations to. How about that, heritage motherfuckers? How about that? This is what we're up against. Shit is crazy. That have nothing to do with behavior, with cultural patterns, with what peer groups value, with how people spend their time and what they identify as being critical to their own self-respect. The research strongly backs up Leroy's Columbia University professor Van C. Tran has looked children from West Indian immigrants that grew up in troubled neighborhoods, segregated from whites, and because they lack foreign accent, are seen as differentiated, are seen as undifferentiated blacks by cops, store owners, employers, landlords, teachers, that they too face discrimination. I'm not sure what West Indians have to do with this. Yet the West Indians strongly outperform across 8 important measures: high school dropout, unemployment, not in education, not in employment, the NEET rate. So not in education, not in employment, not in training rate. Their college graduate, professional attainment, arrest rate, incarceration rate, and teen pregnancy, and all but college graduates and professional attainment, West Indians are closing the gap with whites. Do you know what box they get to check when they fill stuff out? That would be my question. What box do they get to check out? What box? And then when they do go to the interview, is their hair C4? I don't know. I'm asking for a black friend that tried to get a job. I'm asking for that. I'm asking for the black family that went to the bank, and tried to get a loan for their house. That wouldn't even get shown the apartment from the landlord. So all of these studies based off of so they recognize that there are certain people groups that have highly melanated skin and are not directly African, like that, and that they are able and allowed to come over here and do what they do. Uninterfered, it says. They already know. And this is just some of it, you guys. We're almost done. So there are racial quotas, color policies, and it has nothing to address choices people make. In the short run, attempts to re-engineer American culture or human nature through training sessions is likely to promote backlash. Ultimately, they are doomed to fail. Human nature is, after all, unchangeable. So they're saying they're not going to change. So let's just make it Project 2025 and everybody else get over it, because they're not going to change. You know what? I have to go do my modding thing for Dr. Heavenly right now. And because she's back from SA Mondays with Carlos King, and I'm going to be her mod. She said I was her mod. She hasn't given me my wrench yet. I don't know. But I'm still going to do my thing. It just started. And I know they were doing a little shout out to Kiki. Look, no, hers started 11 minutes ago. So yeah, so I got to get over there. And tomorrow or later this week, I'll come back and do some more. Get out of the camera, babe. Tomorrow I'll come back and do some more for the Power of Zero tomorrow at noon. Keep an eye out. And how to have a tax-free, zero taxes in zero. Yes. So we'll tell you all about it. Anyway, you guys, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring my bell so you can get notified when I upload another video. And I'll see you in the next one. And remember what I always say, there's enough to go around, so go get some.